Welcome to the Fray Flak Pack. It's Termex here, and welcome back to another Borderlands 3 video. And today, I'm going to be going over the top 10 things that Flak needs to have changed, Flak needs to have reworked, or things that he needs buffed, any of that kind of stuff. But before we get into the video, I want to let you guys know I am not a game developer. I do not design games, I do not create games, and I'm obviously a YouTuber that plays the games. So all of these are subjective opinion, and based on the things I have done, how long I've played Flak, I have mainly played Flak all of my Borderlands time. 99% of my playtime is on Flak. Now before I get into number 10 as well, I want you to know these are not in any particular order in terms of most important to least important. These are all changes that are welcome regardless of what order they're in. I just want these changes to be applied to Flak. Now, all of these aren't set in stone, such as the numbers and stuff, but they're all just ideas at the end of the day. All the skills I'm going over, I think, need to be changed in some sort of way. Alright, as for number 10, we're going to be going over Rackcelerate. Now, Rackcelerate is one of those abilities that no one really uses on Rack Attack as much as people should. And what normal Rackcelerate does is you get increased cooldown rate on your Rack Attack, and you get an extra charge. But my version of this Rackcelerate that I personally came up with, I kind of edited a lot of these to make it kind of look good. I tried my best here. But I thought, instead of this, what if Flak's racks gain increased flight speed? Because they are not the fastest projectiles, obviously. They do have some travel distance. But what if they got increased flight speed and they had a guaranteed crit chance? Now, the guaranteed crit chance would be helpful because it would be doing even more damage, and it would have even better synergy along with Grim Harvest, because your Rack Attack could be the core damage that you're dealing. I already know that Rack Attack could proc sometimes from Megavore, but having this guaranteed crit chance will allow it, so maybe you can make a build kind of like a Rack Attack while holding an Unforgiven type of build, to where you don't even have to shoot weapons. I would kind of like to see how cool that is, but it overall makes Rack Attack do more damage. And if you look at all the Rack Attack augments, none of the augments indirectly increase damage. It's additional racks, which I guess you could say does more DPS, but we get healing, change to cryo, and we get more racks. It would be nice to have one of them do even more damage. Sliding into number 9, we are going to be going over pet abilities. Now, pet abilities, I am fully aware that the new pet reworks are going to be coming out soon, so I don't want to speak too much on the overall damage of pets, because that might get fixed in the near future, and I'm kind of counting on the fact that it does. But I want to go over the abilities that pets have, and by that I mean all the abilities such as the damage you get with the Scorched Pet, or the health regeneration, or the crit damage you get with the Jabber. All of those type of things are what I'm talking about. Now, one of them, I would like to see one of them, especially in the blue tree, because we have 2 Skags. One Skag gives us damage and gun damage. One Skag gives us damage and fire rate. Maybe we could take the one that takes damage and gun damage, because they're pretty similar things, and maybe change out the gun damage specifically for magazine size. Flak does not have any magazine size abilities or skills, and doing this would help out with some builds. Don't quote me on this, but I believe he's the only character in the game that does not have a magazine size increase in any part of his skill tree, and I think it'll be a welcome change. Of course, it would add more diversity and more incentive to use the Great Horn Skag, because right now the Elemental Spider Ant Scorcher is probably the most popular Flak pet, and it would have a good synergy, and you could boost the magazine size along with Barbaric Yop, so increasing that, giving magazine size builds for Flak to have that viable option in his skill tree. Jumping it over onto number 8, we do have Lick the Wounds. Now, if you've been part of my channel for a long time, you know I love this perk. Lick the Wounds is an amazing, fun perk, and it helps you in a lot of situations. But for me, the main thing I think Lick the Wounds needs is not a rework or a buff. I think it simply needs the added benefit of reviving allies, and the reason I say this is because in Borderlands 2, Maya was known for that support character that rezzed her teammates, and it was very helpful to have. And it'll just add more synergy with Flak. It would add more of a co-op playstyle, because Flak is a co-op type character. He does have abilities that help out his team, and just playing him solo is kind of like a co-op thing, because whatever your pet does helps you out, and whatever you do helps your pet out. It'll just match along with Flak, and it'll make him more of a viable support when it comes to co-op play. Then again, I do not play co-op too often, but it will be nice to see this change for people that do co-op quite a bit, the raids, people that do 4-player takedown, all that kind of stuff. I would personally love to have that. I already love Lick the Wounds as a perk. not for the pet damage, but just for the fact that your pet can revive you. And it's good that when you accidentally kill yourself that you know your pet has your back and you don't have to worry about any of that. Going on to number 7, we have the Rack Commander class mod. Oh boy, we're getting into the class mods. This is where the debates in the comments are probably going to stir up, but you probably already typed a paragraph if you disagreed already. But like I said before, these are all my opinions. But for Rack Attack, right now, Rack Attack is kind of weak. The class mod for me does not provide a lot of incentive to use, even as a Rack Attack build. All it does is gain an extra charge of Rack Attack. But when you have head count in Megavore, Rack Attack charges so quickly that the extra charge isn't really needed. I've never ever in my time of playing Flak needed my Rack Attack to come back faster for any reason whatsoever. But for me, the rework that I kind of gave it is when you summon your Rack Attack, since it's Rack Commander, I thought a good idea would be that your racks have the ability to draw enemy fire for a short time. Now the way this can work is right when you activate your Rack Attack, they will start targeting the racks, and it'll basically be another damage of sorts. And one good thing that this will do is if you're spec'd into the green tree along with this class mod, it will proc Hidden Machine, which will allow you to do even more damage because the racks will actually be targeted. I also think it would be a really cool synergy to see this. All the enemies shooting the racks, but they can't destroy the racks, so it would be a guaranteed chance for Hidden Machine to work. Alright, over into number 6, we do have the Trainer class mod. Now, as we all know, the Trainer class mod has been Flak's worst freaking class mod ever. It's been his worst class mod ever made. No one uses it because dominance is basically the same thing. We'll go over that a little bit later in the video. But for Trainer, I think with the new pet buff that is going to be coming out in the future, I solely believe that Flak's pets are going to be viable. And I think the Trainer is a good concept for that. But the only change I made to this is whenever Flak's pet would kill an enemy, there's a 25% chance. I would change that to a 50% chance just so it happens more frequently. And when it comes to the confusion duration, I gave it just an extra 5 seconds, from 20 seconds to 25 seconds. It's a small increase, yes, but it will make a big difference to make this class mod a viable option. What I like to see in diversity is each class mod should give you a different incentive. A class mod should not shine from another class mod, kind of like Zane's Seeing Dead class mod. And I believe Flak, so far, he does have good class mod diversity, but this would just make that a little bit better. As of right now, the Trainer isn't a good class mod, but in the future, when Flak's pets do become viable, I think this has a lot of potential. Mark my words, I guarantee you in the future, it may not be me who comes up with it, but somebody will come up with a really good Trainer build when the pets become viable. And I will work my damn butt off to make that happen because I've been waiting for that since day one to have a very, very good Flak pet build. But you never know, Pet Flak might be the new meta in just a few weeks. Over into number 5, we do have Gamma Burst. Now, Gamma Burst, I don't have a problem with the skill indirectly. The thing about Gamma Burst, I don't really want it to be changed or nerfed, but I do want the little added benefit of when you activate your Gamma Burst and you basically, your Gamma Burst is still active, you're in an area where all the enemies are dead, and you don't want to wait for your Gamma Burst any longer. I would like to see the feature where you can just simply hold the action skill button down and it calls back the Gamma Burst and refunds some of the cooldown. Very similar to how Axon's turrets in Borderlands 2 operated. I think it'll just be a cool little added benefit. On top of that, it will make it a little bit more convenient for Gamma Burst Flak players to relocate their Gamma Burst to where needed when you need healing in a certain area. Especially in the takedown when my Gamma Burst is active, I will be pushed up on the bridge and I have to run all the way back on the bridge to get the healing from my Gamma Burst, and I don't really like that, but this little tiny feature would make it so that little inconvenience is no longer present. Over into number 4, I would like to see Cosmic Stalker get a little bit of a buff. But why do you say a little bit of a buff? Well, Cosmic Stalker in itself is already a great class mod. It's a great class mod and it has its use. It makes all your hunt kill skills stronger, but that's really all it does. Kind of similar to the Rat Commander, it only does one thing and it's strong, but I would like to see it be a little bit stronger. Now, the reason I want to see this is class mods like the Bounty Hunter offer way more benefits than the Cosmic Stalker do, and class mods like the Sackbot offer way more damage than the Stalker would. But for me, I would just change the 20% power increase up to 35%. It's a small increase, but it gives that more incentive for players to try out the class mod. and it would be a welcome change as well. I don't think it would break the game at all. It would make it so people that use the orange tree, you're really getting the max benefits from your hunt kill skills. And kind of like Zane gets the max benefits from his overall kill skills, Flak can kind of do a similar thing. And it wouldn't be too overpowered, because the only thing I would see getting too strong here is maybe the most dangerous game. If you somehow have 3 out of 3 into the most dangerous game along with a Cosmic Stalker, but even then it would only be around 70 to 80% gun damage. And I would just like to see the Cosmic Stalker be a little bit stronger. It's a very cool class mod, obviously very good for Stagecoach builds, very good for even SMG builds at sometimes, but that's just very all situational. At number 3, we do have Sikkim, which is a perk in the green tree. Now this is one of those perks that people look at and they're like, I don't need it. But I believe in the future, like I said, when Flak's pets become viable, this will be a useful perk again. Now, one change, only one minor change I would make to this is the attack command cooldown. I would boost that up to about 20%. And the reason behind this is you want to be able to use your flak attack, I guess we can call it that, your flak attack as often as possible for your pets to do the special ability. And I believe even with this maxed out with the 30%, it doesn't really make that big of a difference. But if you made this little change, it would go to 60% quicker. And it'll just be a nice change to have the pets do their ability more often, especially if the Iridian Skag gets a good old buff and his Singularity does a lot more damage. Now, coming in at number 2, we do have Ambush Predator. And if you don't know what Ambush Predator is, it is a orange skill tree perk that allows Flak to deal increased critical hit damage and has increased weapon handling the farther away he is from an enemy. Now, this recently got a buff in the sense that when you're far enough from an enemy, it will actually activate. But I personally don't like this perk whatsoever. It's just me. I never really use it. Even with sniper builds, when I'm in fadeaway and I haven't even aggroed the enemies yet, I don't get the pop-up that it's even active. So my pitch for this, a complete rework of the skill, a complete rework. And what I had in mind is Flak's first bullet in a new magazine deals increased weapon damage. Now I believe someone had the similar ability in Borderlands 2. I forgot who it was. It'll probably come back to mind later on when I'm editing. But it can level up 5 times, so I thought every level should be 5% more damage. So when it's at 5 out of 5, Flak will get 25% bonus damage on the first shot he fires out of like a new magazine. This will help because his orange tree is around snipers, it's around critical hits, and it'll just be a nice change. Now, I could kind of see this getting exploited if you're using Leave No Trace and you get your ammo refilled back as your first mag. Now, you can either look at that as a really good synergy to keep up the constant damage for the first bullet, and it would make him Infinity Pistol-wise a lot more viable. He can kind of be like Zero from Borderlands 2 and make the Infinity Pistol crazy. But maybe if they don't want Leave No Trace to have infinite procs on this, they could always eliminate that and make sure like Leave No Trace doesn't do that. That like I said, I'm not a game developer. These are just ideas and things I would like to see change and the kind of flaws for Flak that I want to point out. But I'll definitely give Ambush Predator a kind of rework like that to more cater to the sniping Flak playstyle. And finally, at number 1, I know I said I wasn't going to rank these by numbers, but I feel like this is the number 1 spot if we were to rank it. If we were to rank it, this is definitely the number 1 spot, and that is the blue skill tree capstone. That is Dominance. Yes, the one. Yes, God, this whole thing needs help. But for me, Dominance is one of those things that's I never used. I've experimented with it, and it's a fun playstyle. It kind of reminds me of Mind Control Maya from Borderlands 2, and I actually use that quite often. I will completely admit that. I use that quite a bit. But I have a idea for Dominance to be reworked. Now, I'm not going to come up with different names for the skills, but I do have ideas for how they function. Now, my version of Dominance goes as follows. Flak will now have the ability to have 2 pets active at any given time. But while doing so, each pet gets a health decrease of 25%. Now, the reason behind this is I want to add some sort of balance to this. I don't want Flak just to have 2 pets with all the bonuses. I want these to be realistic changes. And I could actually see this kind of happening, having the benefits of 2 different pets bonuses out at the same time. But to kind of counteract this, the pets will be weaker in terms of tankiness, just so you can't use Red Fang and Shared Spirit on both the pets, because Flak would kind of be invincible if you did a setup like that. Now, not every single statistic I gave you guys is set in stone, obviously. The numbers are subject to change. I'm not a game developer once again, but these are just my ideas as a Flak main, as a Flak player, and as a person that's been playing Flak since basically day one of the game. I don't even have my other 3 characters up to level 53, so that kind of says a lot about my character diversity. But yeah, those are the 10 changes for Flak that I believe he needs. And of course, guys, those are just my opinions on what I think he really needs. Changes to Flak that I would love to see. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you have your own opinions on what you would like to see changed on Flak, please let me know in the comments down below. I love reading your guys' comments and talking to you guys about Flak, about Borderlands, anything in general. But make sure you join that Flak Pack Discord. Link will be in the description below. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you're new. And let's go for 100 likes for a part 2 on this. Maybe when the update comes out, we will visit back on more things that Flak can improve upon. But anyway, you guys have a terrific day, and me and Scorch Jr. will see you guys later.